What's up, War Report family? Your boy C-Dub here. Go ahead and take time to get in here. This is the post-game reaction show. Auburn versus Michigan. Auburn elite again. Auburn wins 78-65. It's going to be a good night. It's going to be a good Friday. Take time to get in here, guys. And while you're here, once you show up, please show us some love. Share this video. Smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. Auburn definitely closes out Michigan. This was a bit of a tough game early on for Auburn. Actually, both teams were turning the ball over at a rapid pace. Auburn, they kept showing the stats. Auburn's one of the best in the nation in terms of taking care of the basketball, and they were turning the ball over a lot. And it just seems like Auburn was just going through the motions at times in terms of how they were moving on offense, some wild errant passes, guys not catching passes. It was a bit frustrating to watch, but as the game went on, Auburn began to settle in. Some people we want to shout out from a scoring standpoint. The leading scorer, Johni Broome. Johni Broome came back in this game and he bounced back with a big game. 22 points, 16 boards. All of the criticism that has been thrown his way over the past few days, few weeks. He responded big in a game against two bigs of Michigan. 9 of 21 shooting, hit a three, and his offensive rebounding was incredible. He almost had a double in terms of offensive rebounds. He had 9. He had an amazing game in terms of putbacks, cleaning up the glass. And at one point in the game, it seems like he was a one-man wrecking crew. He was a one-man show, and the frustration began to mount. And I think Auburn was beginning to play into Michigan's hands a bit, because I think Michigan was willing to let Johni eat as long as Auburn's guards were not going off. Then came Denver Jones, 20 points, 7 of 13 shooting, 4 of 7 shooting from the three-point line, 2 of 2 from the line, 4 rebounds. He had a game, and he was getting whatever he wanted. He was getting exactly whatever he wanted in this game. I was happy for Denver Jones providing a much-needed spark. And that bad boy right there, Tahad Pettiford, coming off the bench and scoring 20 points, 7 of 14 shooting, 2 of 7 from the three-point line. He went 4 of 5 from the foul line, the charity stripe. He had an amazing game as well. I'm trying to see what other stats he had. 3 assists. But it was a really strong performance from Auburn's wings. We'll talk about some of other players in this. It was beginning to be a little concerning because there were guys who really struggled in this game. So to see guys like Tahad and Denver step up and really spell Johni Broome in terms of scoring was very important to see for this team. Chad Baker-Mazar chipped in 6 points. Miles Kelly had 5 points. Dylan Cartwell had a point. Chaney Johnson had 4 points. Auburn played 3 guys off the bench: Chris Moore, Tahad Pettiford, and Chaney Johnson. I got a bit worried at one point, especially when Auburn came out the second half. Auburn outscored Michigan 48-36 in the second half. But early in that half, it was a bit concerning because the turnovers were still mounting for Auburn. And it just seemed as though Auburn wasn't going to wake up at one point. And you begin to see some of the frustration boiling over at one point. You saw the moment with Tahad Pettiford and Johni Broome kind of fussing at each other. They were beginning, it was beginning to be concerning. And we've seen Auburn just kind of fade in games like that. But to see them bounce back and go on a 10-0 run that turned into a 15-2 run, Auburn really began to put Michigan away. They began to lock in defensively and really force tough shots from Michigan. And really and truly, once Auburn's wings, Tahad, Denver started shooting lights out, it was over at that point, because for all that Wolf and Golden was doing in the interior, they couldn't keep up. Their Michigan's wings couldn't keep up with Auburn's. And so it was good to see Auburn begin to just turn it on and begin to pull away from a really good Michigan team. This was a great gutsy performance by Auburn. and really proud of this team. I'm glad that they were able to get past the Sweet 16 into the Elite Eight, where they will face Michigan State. And I like that matchup as well. I like Auburn in that. This game had me a bit concerned, I'll be honest, just because I wasn't sure how Auburn would do in the interior. Johni Broome showed up. Let's get to some of y'all's comments. Y'all are here, want to hear what you guys have to say. Tom McMean says, Tahad Pettiford is not human. He had an amazing game. Shouts out to Tahad Pettiford. Stephen Neely says they had us in the first half. Not going to lie, it was an ugly first half. It was concerning. It was concerning. It was frustrating and kind of relieving that as bad as Auburn played from a turnover standpoint, they were leading in that game. Typically in games like that, we've seen when Auburn is just loose with the ball, the other team is pulling away. So to see Auburn still in that game, and I think what helped is that Michigan was also turning the ball over as well. So it wasn't like Auburn was turning the ball over and Michigan wasn't. Both teams were turning the ball over, and so the defenses were just winning all over the place. And there were unforced turnovers that Auburn was making. I was concerned when Auburn continued to turn the ball over in the second half. And that's when I got worried, Stephen. But Auburn began to wake up and begin to play Auburn basketball. Mercy with the $4.99 super chat says, my soul, it was looking again bad for a while. Glad they turned it around. It was looking concerning for a while. And yes, they finally woke up and really began to pull away from Michigan. Fire Free says this team knows how to make things interesting. Glad they woke up in the last 10 minutes. Yeah, man. The last 10 minutes were it was good to see this team begin to really play with confidence and hitting shots, getting to the line, getting to the basket. Again, it was good to see them. And what was almost kind of a blessing was you didn't have to rely on Johni Broome late in this game. And this is a tournament for guards. It's all about guard play in terms of what we expect to see teams begin to pull away is that guard plays wins the day. And so Johni being in foul trouble, being on the bench, you didn't have to worry about him going to the line. You didn't have to worry about teams hacking him. They had to stop Auburn's guards, and they could not. They absolutely could not. All right. Lawrence Robinson says Miles Kelly couldn't find a bucket. And the concern with Miles here, it almost seems like the moment was too big for Miles. Because I'm used to Miles Kelly shooting like that. He was 1 of 9, 5 points. He was doing other things that I liked in the game. He had 6 boards. He was playing good defense. But in a game like this, you wanted to see Miles Kelly light it up. You wanted to see him shoot well. And not only was he not shooting well, but he was turning the ball over. And I thought it was a bad sign to see Miles coming off the half and on a fast break can't handle the ball. I think Chaney Johnson missed 2 passes thrown his way that he couldn't handle. Like it just seemed like these guys, either their nerves or I don't know what it was, but it just seems like the moment was kind of getting to some of these guys. So it was good to see guys like Denver and guys. I mean, Tahad just has ice water in his veins, but that was what was concerning for me, Lawrence, is that Miles couldn't even hang on to the ball. So with him not even hanging on to the ball, he couldn't even create his own shot at times because obviously the 3 wasn't working. So getting to the cup, hitting a mid-range would be Miles's go-to. But again, he was losing the ball. And so it seems like he was becoming a bit of a liability on offense at one point. Appreciate the comment, Lawrence. Ben Bloodworth says War Eagle. Hey, War Eagle, back to you, Ben Bloodworth. Heavy says still breathing in a paper bag. There's no need to breathe from a paper bag when you got the Rogue Shop. Okay, hit up the Rogue Shop, guys. I think I changed something here, but go to the Rogue Shop and use code Rapport to get you some gummies. You don't have to breathe in a paper bag when you got the Rogue Shop. Let's see here. Get to some more comments Yeah. Stephen Neely just gifted 5 War Report memberships. Thank you, Stephen Neely. We appreciate you, good sir. Fire Freeze says Trey made too small sign to Tahad about that. Tahad woke up and Trey was trying to bully Tahad early in the game. You saw him try to back Tahad down because he had the side. And again, Trey used to do that when he was at Auburn. Trey was one of the more physical point guards in the league, so he could hold his own. And so he felt like he could play a bit of bully ball against Tahad and got away with it early in the game. And so what happened is that Tahad just took over. Tahad just took over and had an amazing game. So yeah, Trey wanted Auburn. Trey got Auburn. A lot of Auburn. More of Auburn than what he wanted. My guy Mike says, so Miles should go off against Michigan State if his track record holds hot and cold. He's due now because it's been a few games. Really and truly, he's been kind of struggling since Alabama State. So you would think now that he's due for a breakout game. So yes, if his trend holds, Mike, I expect for him to bounce back and at least play a lot better than what he did tonight. I know also too, I know he wants to make things right in that regard. Again, Miles Kelly is one of Auburn's better players, especially on offense. He wants to make. I'm glad he has an opportunity in another day or two to rest up and kind of make up for how he played tonight. I know that's not a reflection of how he's played all year. He wants to make things right there. Heavy says the paperback is filled with gummies. My man. All right. I'm glad you clarified that. Fire Freeze just gifted 10 World Report memberships. Thank you, Fire Freeze. Appreciate you for that. Those of you who aren't part of the Green Name Gang, check your email to see if you are a member. And hopefully you can go and enjoy some perks for the courtesy of the War Report. Ike is doing some amazing content behind the paywall. Sometimes he drops in and does office hours. You can come in and ask him questions, talk about random stuff. So enjoy that membership. Guys, it's time to talk about player of the game. We want to drop your comments for who you think the player of the game is, and then we're going to talk about plus and minus in this game as well. Obviously, you have Johni Broome, 22, 16. You have guys like Denver Jones. You have guys like Tahad Pettiford. For me personally, as tempting as it is to go with Denver Jones and Tahad, I'm going to go with Johni here. I'm going to go with Johni. Johni needed this game. And Johni needed this game because, again, one of the things I've been concerned with Johni is he seems to struggle against 7-footers. And Johni had 17 rebounds in this game. Johni out-rebounded Danny Wolf. I'm trying to see how many Golden had. Johni out-rebounded both those 7-footers combined. Those guys combined had 15 boards. Johni had 16. He out-rebounded them. He was a beast in the down low. So he was, to me, he's my player of the game. I'm proud of him for how he's played. I see some people. AU Templin says Cardwell was a sleeper player of the game. Played amazing defense. Amazing defense. Again, this was an important game that Johni needed, and I'm proud of him for showing up big in a game when it seems like Auburn was struggling at points to find any semblance of offense. Johni Broome stepped up and played big for Auburn. At least was holding it down until he began to get help from Denver Jones and Tahad. But I'm not mad if any of you guys said Tahad Pettiford. Get to some of you guys' comments. Cam says player of the game is Hod Verbroom. Hod Verbroom. Yeah, not mad at that. Not mad at that at all. Marshall Jones says Johni just for the comeback he had in this game. Yeah, man. Ernest Vaughn says National Player of the Year. This could have been that game. This could have been a huge game. Again, they're showing that kid from Duke a lot of love. So We'll see. We'll see there. But this was a huge game for Johni. Again, some of you guys are saying, some of you guys mentioned Jones. John Manuel says Jones shut Trey down. Yes, he did. Trey was not really a big of a factor, especially when Denver was guarding it. He wasn't a big factor at all. Let's get to some of you guys super chats here, and then we're going to jump to plus or minus. Heavy says plus or minus while I chew gummies, please. We're getting to that. We're getting to that, Heavy. I got you this time. All right. Heavy comes back and says Cartwell wants more free breakfast. More free breakfast. Cartwell shall get. Keep the dubs coming. He's going to enjoy those free breakfasts. Ben Bloodworth says Chad Baker-Mazar enjoyed every millisecond of that final dunk. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Let's go ahead, guys, and get to plus or minus. There are only two players who were in the negative here in plus or minus. You guys can probably guess who one of those players was, and one of them obvious was Chris Moore, who had a -6, but he didn't play a lot of minutes in this game. He only played 2 minutes in this game. So that was probably, and yeah, I'm with you, Riley. Simo still isn't 100%. Love to see him kind of rest up a little bit more and try to contribute a little bit more on Sunday, but we'll see how he progresses. But he had a -6. Chaney Johnson had a -2. Played a lot of minutes, but had a -2 there. Everyone else had a positive plus or minus. And I'm curious to see who you guys tell me who you think had the highest plus or minus here. We're going to go from the lowest to the highest. Actually, Miles Kelly he wasn't in the plus. He was at 0, actually. So he just kind of evened out there. The next person that I'm seeing with the next highest plus is Johni Broome with 7. So he is not the highest player with a plus or minus. It's going to be interesting to see who the next person was. So that leaves us Chad Baker-Mazara. That leaves us Denver Jones, Dylan Cardwell, and Tahad Pettiford. The next person with the highest plus or minus, not Tahad Pettiford, but Chad Baker-Mazara with 12. Chad Baker-Mazara had he was a plus 12 on the evening. Next up from him was, drum roll, Tahad Pettiford. So that leaves us Denver Jones and Dylan Cardwell. The person with the highest plus or minus was, drum roll, Dylan Cardwell. You guys got it in the chat. Dylan Cardwell he was a plus 19 on the night. Denver Jones was right behind him with 18 in this game. So a lot of you shouting out Dylan Cardwell as player of the game. I mean, he logged the highest plus. He had a plus 19, led the team with that. Had an amazing game, even though from a stat standpoint, he had 9 rebounds. He had, I'm trying to see how many blocks. Did he have any blocks in this game? Oddly enough, he didn't have any blocks in this game, but he played amazing defense and forced tough shots in this game. So kudos to Dylan Cardwell for an amazing game. We're going to figure out a game plan for Sunday, because we probably will be able to do a weekend tailgate, but we're gonna have to figure out what that's going to look like. Mike G and Ike Jones will still be in Atlanta covering that, so it'll be interesting to see what they want to do for that, or if they want to go at the same time. Not quite sure what the time is for tip-off for Sunday, but we'll definitely keep you guys locked here and keep you guys posted on what our plans are to cover that game, and we'll definitely be here for the post game. So a great win for Auburn, and they're in the Elite 8 facing off against Michigan State. I think Robert says it's at 5. Some of you guys are saying it's a 5 p.m. Eastern, so they'll be playing. Tip-off is at 4, so we'll definitely be trying to do something live leading up to that game. So we'll keep you posted on what we do. Again, enjoy this win, enjoy this evening. It's kind of late, so we're going to wrap it up here. But guys, before you get out of here, share this video, smash that like button, and subscribe to the channel. You can find us on Twitter and IG at the War Report. We are TW Report on TikTok. Signing off, guys. Auburn is in the Elite Eight with an opportunity to go to the Final Four for the first time since 2019. Enjoy this win. We'll catch you on Sunday. Where you go?